Hi everyone. So sorry you don't have a break and we're directly getting into this conversation, but I promise it'll be an engaging conversation. So today I think in a lot of talks we've heard a lot about sustainability, cities, policy, system, design, right? So let me just begin with a simple question, which is, can a city ever become sustainable without its citizens? Not just aware citizens, but active, accountable, organized citizens. So in today's conversation, from civic action to systems change, we will explore how communities move from just participation into real-time impact, and what makes citizen action endure, where activism meets its limits, how young citizens and designers can help translate civic energy into systems change. I'm not going to talk too much, so let's just dive right in. Please, a round of applause for Abdullah.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Abdullah, just before we get into the very deep core questions, we have a short rapid fire round. So we'll start with a short set of questions. So the thing is, don't think too much. So whatever comes to the top of your mind, and as short as possible.
Yeah. First, before that, rapidly, I really want to thank the organizers for giving us this opportunity, bringing us here, and giving us a platform. So I think a round of applause for the organizers first. Thank you so much for this. Yeah.
Ready?
Yes, ready, very much.
Okay. So which APD campaign makes you most proud, right? Which is it cleanups, awareness programs, waste behavior change, or something else?
I think most importantly is data mining and evidence-based work that we have done, because numbers is what our main focus was. I'll keep it short.
Yes, we'll get into that. Great. Good start. Yeah. So plastic waste or air pollution, which feels harder to solve?
Air pollution, for sure, because plastic has a lot of way forwards already in the market. Reuse, reduce, refuse, upcycle, downcycle, all of these options. But I think air pollution definitely doesn't have that many options.
Yeah, I agree. Your favorite local spot in Mangalore where you've seen real change happening?
See, wherever the roads are getting smaller and the footpaths sideways are getting bigger, I think that's a great change, because I think we need to focus on alternate modes of transports, like moving people from point A to point B, rather than having vehicular movements more. We need to encourage them taking the pedestrians, because right now we don't have any other alternate modes of transport, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have things to say about that, but in the conversation. One practical habit you wish every city resident would adopt today?
Practical habit, I would say, I think we need to start appreciating good governance, because it's as important as questioning bad governance. At the moment, right, we are all focused on, like I think Divya just said this earlier, we are just focused on ranting and accusing and blaming the government. But at the same, everything is, like I told, it's more politically oriented. We need to go beyond it and see if we can also appreciate what is happening. So I think it's very important that we start appreciating good governance.
Absolutely. What was that sentence that you said? Can you just repeat that?
We need to appreciate good governance. Appreciating good governance is as important as questioning bad governance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Such a good line. Yeah. So one thing that is actually working in citizen-led sustainability today, working well.
What is working well is startups. I think the young entrepreneurs we have 5,000 plus startups right now in India, which is all focused on like climate, sustainability, and I think they're all doing a great job. I mean, most of them have come up with great solutions in the market, and I think that's where our future is in terms of solving these kind of issues. So I think, coming back to it is startups.
Great. I think that's a message for the young audience here, right? one policy cities must change immediately to become sustainable?
Transport, for sure, transport
Great.
policies.
Yeah.
It has to change because right now we are all focused on how to move cars from point A to point B, like I said. It's not about cars. We have to bring in alternate modes of transport. We have to have, because India has got a lot of, the population is so big that if you just keep planning with cars, it will not really solve the problem. We have to have alternate modes of transport.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Last question. One underrated form of civic participation.
Underrated form of civic participation. I think segregation. Yeah, segregation at source. It's not really followed 100%. I mean, I think Mangalore right now we are at 25%, if I'm not wrong. When we started in 2015, 14, at that time it was some 15%. I think it's moved out to 25% right now, 25 to 30% maximum. I don't know. I don't have the latest data, but that's what I'm presuming.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Great. So with that, we finished the rapid fire, but
Right.
I want you to, take us back to the start, right? Which is, was there a turning point for you personally that made you believe that citizen action could create real environment change? How did you start? How did all of this, how did anti-pollution drive start?
2014 it was, so there's no particular incident which I can put my finger to that we had to start something like this. It was, I think it was a culmination of many instances and occasions in my day-to-day life that I think would have inspired me to start something on this front. Because as a person, I'm a very, I cannot, what do you call, I cannot normalize what's abnormal. So it is something which is like, be it inequality, be it what do you call, discrimination, be it social injustice, be it lack of accountability. All these things are very abnormal, but you see that it's getting normalized, so it kind of triggers in you. But what I have noticed also is there's a lot of civic issues I mean, these are the issues of which I can't do much about it, but then I've noticed a lot of civic issues, because India is a place where we have hundreds of civic issues. I mean, it's like a hypermarket for civic issues. So now, if you, for instance, if you get out, say me, when I get out of my house, when I drive to my factory, it's about like 1.5 kilometers. When I drive every day, I can point out at least 15 to 20 civic issues in my 1.5 kilometers. I see bad footpath, bad roads, bad, a lot of issues which is there. So now this, when you look at something like this on a day-to-day basis, of course, you want to do something about it also. And I think that's how also the inspiration started, because every civic issue is a burden on public health. So I think that's how the service to public health started, and that's how we decided, I need to do something about it. I think that's not me decided. I think that could be the inspiration behind, because seeing it on a day-to-day basis, yeah. So I think that's how, then one fine day we decided, okay, fine, we'll take up one topic. We'll start with one topic. And we also very, very, very firmly believe that, India is a developing country. And it's not a developed country. So it makes it mandatory for everyone to participate in nation building. So I think that's how the inspiration started to start something.
Right. I think that's very powerful, right? A lot of people a lot of us also see a lot of these kind of things on our day-to-day basis. But sometimes we tend to feel, powerless and not motivated enough to get and do something, right?
Generally, I have seen everyone is very motivated, but they don't have the time and the resources for it. And because everyone is having to run behind their daily bread and butter, which is necessary. And of course, there are people who are doing it beyond that as well, because they are doing some, like you see now, for instance, this summit itself. You guys have all come together and built such a beautiful summit, bringing all of these people together and having. I just had a walk at these stalls outside. There are hundreds, different types of innovative, sustainable products outside, bringing them all under one roof, showcasing that there are alternate options, because people they have to be motivated to take alternate options. That's how I think we can get them off using products that is not sustainable. So provide them an option.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's more spaces for dialogue, more spaces where people come together. I think that also is similar to how you started, right? In terms of getting people together to initially start off with different projects. So which brings me to the next line of thought that I have, which is a lot of civic citizen-led movements begin, right? And for whatever reasons, they end up being short-lived, right? They don't really sustain. So from your experience, what allows citizen-led action to translate into real change, whether it is policy, practice, or long-term public development? What actually leads to that kind of change in the long term?
See, I think it's all of it. In fact, I mean, you have to be, you have to have a plan. You have to have it being, you have to have it supported by action. You have to be very consistent about it. And when it comes to this public kind of work, you have to deal with governments, officials, which for that you need a lot of patience. And then a lot of patience means because there's a lot more to it. As in, it's just not about for instance, now if you want to pick up a particular issue and you want to go meet the officials. So the officials themselves would be so busy with their own work. We have to keep persisting. We have to keep going back and forth, pillar to post. So it is something which I would say we need awareness. We need plan. You need awareness. You need data. You need all of these things coming together. That's what I would think.
Yeah, totally. I think it is a combination of all of these things, right? So, can you tell us a little bit more on any one activity that you led, through APD, any kind of an activity or campaign where community participation led to something very concrete, which maybe some of the people here know of or may not.
Something that we did.
Yeah, something that you initiated.
See, we have been in this field, I think, from 2014. Now, and for instance, there was, at that particular time, we started out with working on air pollution. Air pollution, we decided, okay, fine, let's start with air pollution. Okay, what is the polluting factors in Mangalore? And we found out that about 50 to 60% of the pollution is coming from the transport vehicles. And from what kind of transport vehicles? The public transport vehicles. At that particular time, we had Bharat Stage 2 and 3 and all plying on the roads. And they were the most polluting factors. So from there, I lost my thought. What was the question again? The question was which civic-led movement that you had, correct, you saw long-term. Yeah, so from there what we did was, so we started our own, at that particular time we wanted to know, see now first if you want to solve a problem, you need to know how much is the problem. So without knowing how much is the problem, we can never solve it. So we tried doing a lot of investigations in Mangalore, trying to understand how much air pollution, what is the air pollution. There's no data, nothing. So we ourselves, we got in touch with a few air quality monitoring private organizers. We put these AQI machines around the city, about 8, and all the parameters we checked. We got it vetted by, it was a government, accredited company. So, and we built the data, we checked how much SOx, NOx, CO2, and all this lead, including lead. We got the data, we saw that some places are in the borderlines. We also chose education institute area, residential area, commercial area, markets, office areas, and we made a complete report and we submitted to the government saying that, see, this is where Mangalore is, this is where it is going to be leading to. So we need to have, immediately we need to have an AQI machine in Mangalore. So this is, I think, in 2015. So, and we went behind it for almost 2 years. We did many campaigns around it, and we did a lot of advocacy, soft advocacy about it. And then after 2 years, 2016 or 17, I think they did install an AQI finally. I wouldn't say it is credited to us completely. It could have been the course of action, but then definitely we started the conversation. So that's in terms of air pollution, okay. I mean, it would be too over the top for me to say that, it's because of us that happened. No, but I
That's
think
you
at least,
being humble.
yeah. So
But
that's just,
I'm
yeah,
sure, yeah.
that's just we having a conversation starting.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of solid waste management, I think we also got into the picture very much early stage. At that particular time, there were no much conversation. Segregation was just an idea. At that time, it was not too much into the place, and that's when we started a lot of campaigns. We reached out almost to about 300 plus schools and institutes. We reached out to almost most of the apartments in Mangalore, and we had at that time there was this waste collecting agency called Antony Waste Management. So we partnered with them, and with their support, financial support, we did a lot of IEC movement. And we also so initially we started off by ourselves, then we got seeing our methodologies and the way we do and how we've been approaching the public. City Corporation also asked us to take part into their campaigns. They started giving us grants, and then Antony also started giving us grants, and then we could sustain it for almost a 2-year long. We had this massive campaign in terms of solid waste management, even to enforce the penalty for not segregating the waste. I think apartment has to pay 25,000 rupees or something. I think we used to, in fact, go hunting for apartments who are not doing it, and then from the back intimate this is happening. So we wanted to, we were looking at, so segregation also, we were there in the picture much earlier. And in terms of very recent development, again, I don't know if we can take this credit for this, but we have been pushing for electrifying the public transport buses from almost 2 years. We have been doing a lot of campaigns, reaching out to all the agencies involved. And we needed to, because the public transport I felt over here in Mangalore, I mean, it's very unique. I think it's only in Mangalore that public transport is privatized. And I think it's all based on incentives. So the way they drive, it's absolutely rash, it's reckless, and the way they move around, polluting and all, I think it's a little abnormal. So we were also going behind this for quite some time. We've reached out to a lot of departments, a lot of ministries, and a lot of agents, other like bus associations, to electrify the Mangalore transport. And very recently, I think a week or 10 days ago, the first one has come. In fact, I really congratulated Ganesh Travels, Dilraj also, because he's also been a part of
amazing.
This conversation in the past.
Yeah, so what I understand from what you're saying is that, it's very important to spark these conversations and also sustain it through for a couple of years. It's not just about starting, initiating just conversations for citizen-led movements to really change into some kind of an impact. I think what I understand from you, what I'm learning from you is that you stay with it, you stay consistent, and then you sort of go back and then you show what is possible, and then you find ways to work around it.
No, it is important. See, once you go behind a particular problem, like you will feel that, okay, fine, there is something, and it's something which it's a shift, which it's not like something new. It's world over, people are doing it. Yeah. So why can't we do it? If Bangalore has done it, if Delhi has done it, if Mumbai has done it, why can't Bangalore do it now? I mean, we don't have to wait for another 10 years for us to do it. We do it right now. So that's the whole point. That's how we go. We go behind the government. I mean, in terms of conversations about this. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing. So moving on to certain activities that has happened even along with students, right? I think even with Aloysius students there were some campaign activities that have happened. So why do you think that youth are very central to this sort of conversation?
Youth is I think it's the most important right now, because the youth of maybe the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, I think they're the most equipped with the best of technologies and the mindset. And they're not like the millennials, like how we come from. They're more, I think, hands-on. And they're like, I would say 20% more woke than what we were with things. Because for instance, my niece who are here, they're like maybe like 18, 20 years old. But when I was 18, 20 years old, I wasn't so woke. I mean, I don't understand, the things that they understand now. So it is. I think it's very important that I think they are the most important factor, and they are the ones who will be innovating. Now you see, for instance, 19-year-old, 20-year-old billionaires in Mangalore. I mean, in India, there are people who started these companies and all. So it's. I think it's something unheard of before. Earlier we used to never see 19, 20-year-olds who are touching crores or something. Now they are in billions. So I think the potential with the youth is, it's a very great potential with them.
And we see that here as well, right? I mean, this whole event has been pulled off with a lot of support from youth and volunteers. I think it's amazing.
Particularly Aloysius, we have done a lot of work with Aloysius. I think Professor Gerald has been our POC here, and he sent us a lot of students for interning with us. Over the years, I think we have done at least 100+ activities.
Amazing.
With Aloysius, Yeah,
that's a lot of work. That's real impact, guys. Like, citizen-led movements turning into impact, and also in the process, bringing along education and taking it forward. I think that's brilliant. So what do you have to say about designers, planners, architects, engineers? Where do they all fit in?
They are the most important people, I would say, because the government, they need urban planners, they need those designers, they need sustainable architects. They definitely, I would say, they lack such kind of expertise in certain. At least maybe when we started, we really used to push for that you need to bring in more urban planners into a picture. More, I think they are the one who can they can for instance, now I'll give an example where I think they would have been fit better. Now, each time something happens in Mangalore, maybe they break a footpath, they have to dig in some wire or they put something and they relay the tiles, relay the footpath, and after 6 months they break it again and they have to do another wiring or maybe another pipeline inside. So this shows that there has been no long-term planning in it. There's no thinking in it. So, and I think maybe they don't have the capacity to think that far also, because they are understaffed again. I mean, if you go to any government offices in India, it's all understaffed. The only government section that is going full understaffed, 100% is the politicians, I guess. All the seats are full, but the government in bureaucracy or in any other municipal level, district level, even the judiciary, it's all understaffed. And so that's where I think the designers and the sustainable urban planners, thinkers and all can come into picture and support the government in that terms. I think they play a very important role. They can and they should play a very important role in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when they come from a private point of view, there's a very different perspective which they bring into the table, which the government is in a way could be supported with, right?
See, their exposure will be different. Their education would be better. They would have gone to different places, different better colleges and studied and come back. And so I think they can definitely do a better job.
Yeah. Great, absolutely. So for the youth over here, right, what do you say in terms of what mindsets should, young citizens, designers, what kind of mindsets do you think that they should develop if they want to shape cities meaningfully?
I think more than skills, it's about personality. Resilience is something necessary. If you are looking into working in the public sector, then I think a lot of resilience is necessary. Because it's a complete uphill task, so it is not very easy to climb the hill because of and a lot of hurdles in between. Most importantly, I would say is missed it. So coming back to the question again, I lost my track.
So Abdullah is fasting, guys.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, it's about young citizens' mindsets.
Oh yeah, resilience I was saying.
Yeah.
So we have to develop that kind of resilience, and the public space is a very difficult space to work in It is because if at all you want to go in there, you have to go with the mindset of not expecting anything back other than the solution that you're trying to solve, or else it is not going to be easy for you. Because if as a private player, if you're going to the government and telling that, give us this work, we'll do it. Give us that work, we'll do it. But then if at all you're expecting something out of it, maybe financially, monetary, because without monetary you cannot run. But if you're expecting it also, it might not go forward. So we might have to, in the beginning at least, be more philanthropic, I would say. Approach.
Right.
In terms of first get the problem, get to the problem, and you can speak to the government, say that we'll do it ourselves. Maybe you have to raise external funding for it. Then do it for free, basically. Do it for free for the government, and then they will start accepting you in closer, I would say. And then eventually, maybe when they learn your methodologies are working, your ideas are better or more new, more acceptable by people, and I think then you can work into something getting into. So everything was done from ourselves, like pro bono. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's how it should be in a way, right?
Yeah.
You start with the passion, you start freely doing it, and then eventually, when you've done it enough number of times, you get recognized. You don't walk in with the expectation that you're going to get recognized. But it's
government agencies. You cannot expect anything at the beginning. In the first day, there's no chance. You'll have to at least go inside for a couple of 2 or 3 years without expecting anything, but giving, in fact. Because you see, we have to give, in fact. We have to have that mindset of giving. Because if, like I said earlier, India is a country which is still developing. So we need to start giving more than expecting something. Like Kennedy says, ask not what your country has done for you, but what you have done for your country. So I think that mindset is very important for us to have it at this this era, right? Till we reach into a stage where I think India doesn't need. So, but I would just think, we need these thinkers, urban planners, sustainable thinkers, architects, all of them to go there and support the government. But it has to be done without expecting anything. Then I think for sure we'll have faster development.
Right.
Because you see, government also, when you go to meet a government person, like maybe you go to the city corporation, you see someone in the department, whichever health department or environmental department. When you go to the table and sit at the table, their table will be stacked up with files. So it's humanly impossible for them to even pay attention to any new project or follow up with your project or whatever. So we go there, we select the file that we want from there, we pull out the file from there, we tell, sir, this is what we will help you with, and give us a chance to do this. Again, it has to come without any expectation from them. We take that file, we go forward, and we take it to its not end. It will not happen. End will not happen. But we will take it as far as possible that we can take it. And then they would see that, okay, fine, you are doing something about it, and the support is open-handed. I mean, we have had some great people in the government agencies, whichever departments we have been to, like since 2015, I think, be it the pollution control board, be it the city corporation, the traffic department, RTO, everybody. I think we have got some tremendous support from all of them. Like, on the contrary to belief of what the government, no, the government is like that, government is like that, the agencies are like that. No, we go there with our mindset, saying that this is what we want to do, this is what we can help you with, and this is what we should try. Propose a plan. Plan is good. We can go for it.
Yeah, I think what I hear is, the importance of a multi-stakeholder engagement and sustenance, right? In the long run. So tell us a little bit more about your interactions with the UN. How was that, and what was that about? I think the students here would be quite interested to know. Students, planners, everyone would be interested to know, how did civic movement and all of this end up with your conversations at the UN level?
So basically, there was a summit in November at the headquarters of United Nations. The summit was about trafficking in persons. So human trafficking is a big concern in India as well. And I think the statistics last I saw, there were tens of thousands of cases every year of human trafficking. So what APD did was, APD proposed a plan, like, see, now UN prepares a resolution, passes a resolution, and all the countries, okay, fine, they accept it or they debate on it or whatever. So here, what we proposed to them, to the UN, was that if you want to address human trafficking, you need to address public health concerns as well, because we find a link between public health and human trafficking, and we curated a concept note on that. With the work that we have done on ground, with the work that we have done with waste pickers, with the work that we have done with the houses that don't have toilets here, they're all vulnerable communities. So vulnerable communities are the most affected. If you see now, human trafficking is basically they tap into these vulnerable communities. From that's where it's not like they just kidnap you and take you or something. I mean, they see where you are vulnerable and they come into and they say, "Chalo, we'll give you a job, that, this," and they get trafficked. That's how it happens. So what we pitched into them with the complete detail of the work that we do is, you have to address public health concern, public health, in order to solve human trafficking. And it got accepted into the debate, into the conversation there. And of almost about 20 concept papers accepted, one was APD's. And also was invited to come and attend the meeting. It was a 2-day meeting there. It was nice, yeah.
Amazing. I like the thread of how it went, right? Started with civic movement, went into waste, and then went into the health of the waste workers, and then public health, and then, moving into different kinds of trafficking. And I think each of these things then open up a lot of different things, right? So I am done with my questions. I'm going to open this up to the audience here. Any questions from the audience?
Hi, hello Navita. Hi, Abdullah.
Hi.
Great work.
Thanks, man.
It was nice listening to you. My question is on what you mentioned regarding the public transport systems. I mean, of course, one way to reduce pollution would be to, I'm guessing, reduce personal transport and try and group together and use public transports and things. And also, like you mentioned, going green, say electric transports and things like that. My question comes from the example of Kochi's drive to increase public transport methods and going green. So before the Kochi metro started, multiple of the feasibility studies did mention that Kochi does not require a metro at all, for commute for the people. All it required was a different wiring of the existing public transport system, say for instance, bus bays and things like that. So if the money could have been channeled to a different way of public transport system, it could have solved the existing problems of congestions and pollution and things like that. And over the years, now it's been almost 4 to 5 years now that Kochi Metro has been running, 4 years I'm guessing, and it's just been accumulating crores of losses all throughout, including the last one, I think, told about a 250 crore loss that has been incurred in the last year. But they say it's expenses and, newer lines are being drawn. So, I mean, that all goes into expense. That's why it's loss. What do you think, like, when a city planning is done to expand public transport, which is always considered a good way in order to reduce pollution, how should government see and how should citizens engage in these conversations? Or are citizens engaging at all in these conversations now that we have water metro coming to Mangalore that's being proposed. How do we see this? Because water metro again is solar powered and all of that is there. But at the same time, you have like deep dredging that has to be done across old heritage locations in Mangalore. And is it really worth it? Because it's public transport also. So how do you look at it?
So, for instance, now, like you said, the most important part is where the thinkers come in picture and propose the plan. Now, every city will have a different demographic and different requirements. So, what Kochi will need, Mangalore may not need. What Mumbai would require, Mangalore may need. So, we need to understand from the city point of view, city, local context, and that's when you people come into the picture and say that this is what is the right way forward. Now, one thing I know that it cannot be debated, that sidewalks and pedestrians. Sidewalks and pedestrians has to be promoted in all cities. I mean, here in Mangalore, it is, I think, you see the sidewalks in Mangalore in most of the places, they're hardly 3 feet. I mean, I don't think, two people can even walk next to each other in that. It's absolutely inconvenient. So, and Mangalore is also a city where it's not, in terms of distance, I mean, each area can have people just commuting from one end to another end, because it's not that far of a distance to even reach to certain areas. So in terms of sidewalks, I think is something which the conversation has to happen. And I think there is conversations happening in other cities, but in Mangalore, I have not heard people pushing for pedestrians and sidewalks, because I don't know what I have not studied in terms of what is the availability of lands and all those things. But since they've already initiated sidewalks, they might as well make it a little more bigger, I feel. Now, coming to the second thing that you asked me was, it was the same, like when something like a water metro is being proposed in Mangalore, right. Where does citizens' voice come in here? Like, can we really liaison with the government? Are there discussions happening? Is the government really asking, is it needed for the citizens or something like that? Exactly. See, and that's another thing what Mangalore is lacking, like summits like this, where you bring in the stakeholders, all kind of stakeholders into picture. Private players, not the government. Private players should hold conversations where we bring the district administration, municipal administration, RTOs, and all the relevant departments, and and that is not happening in Mangalore as much. But that's why I was very happy that this thing has happened, this summit happened, because when you bring in these kind of, and there were a lot of, I think, government departments also in this panel, in this desk. So it's a very great initiative in terms of from your end for doing it. I can clap. So yeah, so basically, so that's what is necessary. We need to have these conversations, more regularly, more often, and more loudly. It has to be loud and it has to be persistent. And since we are all in the space, this is what our agenda is. We make it a point of repeatedly reaching out with the message to the concerned departments on a very frequent basis. See, the government is going to do what we want. If we voice for it, the government, if the government finds out that everyone's coming together for this one particular issue, then they act upon it. So our voice is their actions. So we need to raise voice on our issues.
Hello. Yesterday in the morning session, Nirin Jain had suggested that we should encourage more cycle commutes to so that we can reduce pollution, and then encourage people not for exercise reasons but for pollution and everything. And he was suggesting more narrow pathways and other street places that we can use to go around. Like you were saying, footpaths. Do you think having a cycle lane will also encourage?
Yes, absolutely.
But how would it start? I don't see any cycle commutes much. Is there any like how would we bring that up? Like even with students, I don't see, like when I was going to college, it was just 4 kilometers away from my house, so I would go with cycle. But people who were close by, they weren't using cycles, they were using auto rickshaws, and that was like, I was confused, like you could walk. You don't need like any solutions to encourage kids or like students to use cycles or something like that.
Now, as designers, as planners, we have to take up the what do you call, the city map, the city's development plan, check the government properties around, try drawing up something around that. I mean, see, the plan has to be proposed from our side, I feel. If there is an interest, you have to go check each documentations, all the plans, from the municipal plans, for the MUDA plans. I mean, there are a lot of properties which government holds, which can be converted to, which is, I think, lying idle without anything being done in it. Most of the time, I think it's just junkyards. So we need, that can be converted to instances, maybe you can, and like how Niranjan said, I think that's a very nice idea as well, having small pathways through the cities for people to walk, so they can, they can reach from point A to point B. That's a wonderful idea, but who's going to give up the lands? Like properties, it will be private. If it is private property, it's not going to be easy. Then they'll have to take it from the top for all acquisitions and all those things. I think, yeah.
I think those pathways do exist. I think they haven't mapped it out yet. Like even in Google Maps, if you see, there are narrow ways that Google Map may not have traced. I think we can come up with an initiative that we can go through these ways, and like, like even now, a lot of people don't know about the pathway from like PVS Road to that connects to that Navabar Circle, that goes to that Aloysius Gate 10.
That's the one, the
like
side,
most people don't know about it. They go around. Like certain pathways, I think if it's mapped out. Like it's now it's common, but there are like a lot of ways. Even if you go to Car Street, there are a lot of ways to go to Car Street, but most people don't know about it.
Yeah, I think that this is a very interesting conversation about trying to figure out all the pathways in Bangalore city that are known and not known, and maybe you can take that after this discussion, because we have to move on. Navita, would you like to close in any way, or Abdullah, would you like to say any last few words to the audience?
No, just to his question. He said that pathways.
His pathway question.
Yeah, his pathway thing. What he
it.
said, that Navabharat thing. Yes, even for almost 15. I'm in Mangalore since 2007, and I just found that place maybe some 3 or 4 months ago. So as a designer, planner, maybe you may have to have a project where you identify all these pathways, make it into something more attractive, make it more louder, so that people can come to know and have a project around it. And I think you should do that, if it's possible. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for those thoughtful questions. And before we close this session, I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge our moderator. That was such a rich and engaging conversation, and much of that comes from the perspective that Navita brings from her work. Navita Varsha comes from a conservation background and works at the intersection of environment, citizens, and public systems. And so Navita, thank you so much for engaging with Abdullah, and it was a really thoughtful conversation. To express our appreciation, I'd like to call Alka to provide you all with a memento of gratitude and thanks.